Most drivers check oil color and think, looks dark, must be dirty. But here is the twist. That color shift is not just dirt. Under the hood, heat, load, and time attack the oil itself. The molecules change. I have pulled a dipstick after a hard run, and the oil smelled sharp and sour. That is chemistry talking. Quick tip before we dive deep. Oil only resists oxidation for so long, and quality oils use antioxidants to stretch that time. Industry tests and real lab work show this over and over. So, why is old oil not just dirty? Because heat brings oxygen into the party and starts oxidation. Combustion gases add nitration. Together, they raise acidity and thicken the oil. That is why same miles can give very different results. Your oil life monitor is watching temperature, load, and time because it is tracking this chemical stress, not only soot. I am Morgan Lane, and you are watching Recall Roadmap with Morgan. Have you noticed oil smell or color change after a hard run? I want to hear it. Today, I will keep it plain and visual. We will go step by step. Oxidation and nitration, then mechanical shear, then fuel and water dilution, then dirt and PCV, then the additive toolbox and how it runs out, and finally how to read the signs and set a smart change interval. Next up, the most basic culprit, heat. Mile after mile, your oil lives next to fire. That heat is not harmless. High temperature plus oxygen starts a slow burn inside the oil. Oxidation forms acidic byproducts and sticky sludge, and the oil gets thicker. In lab tests, viscosity rises as oxidation climbs. Add the engine's breath, those hot nitrogen oxides from combustion, and you get nitration. That adds more reactive compounds and more acid. Total acid number goes up, and that threatens bearings and seals over time. Quick tip. Choose oils that advertise strong antioxidant packages. They handle heat better, especially in turbo engines and in long, hot climbs. When you smell that burnt, sour note on the dipstick, you are sniffing oxidation and nitration at work. It is not just color, the chemistry changed. That is why highway pulls, mountain towing, and summer idling can age oil faster than the odometer suggests. Some oil specs even set combined oxidation and nitration limits for certain grades like 5W30 during approval testing. The idea is simple. Keep those chemical markers low so the oil stays stable. Heat hardens the oil, but that is only the first enemy. Driving stress can do the opposite and thin it. Next, let us talk about mechanical shear. Here is the curveball. While heat and gases can thicken old oil, hard driving can make it thinner. Multigrade oils use long-chain polymers called viscosity index improvers. They help the oil stay thicker when hot. Under heavy load, high RPM, turbo heat, and long stints, those polymers get chopped up. That is mechanical shear. The protective film can thin more than the label suggests. Engineers measure high-temperature high shear, and the SAE J300 standard says a typical 30 grade must hold at least about 2.9 centipoise at 150 degrees Celsius. Some oils hold that well. Others drop under extreme use. Quick tip. Synthetics and modern shear stable packages usually resist thinning better, especially if you tow, track, or live in stop and go heat. I have drained oil after mountain towing, and it felt lighter than when it went in. That is shear. Thin film means less cushion for bearings and cam lobes. Heat can harden oil. Shear can thin it. Now you know why one bottle cannot tell the whole story. But there is another hit coming. Even if the base oil is perfect, fuel and water can sneak in and dilute it. Let us open that door next. Short trips seem easy, but they are rough on oil. Cold starts run rich. Some of that fuel slips past the rings as blowby and ends up in the crankcase. Even a few percent of fuel can cut viscosity and weaken the anti-wear film. Your nose will catch it first. Fuel-scented oil is not a myth. At the same time, cool air inside the crankcase condenses water during short runs and long idling. Water plus combustion byproducts makes weak acids that chew on metal and additives. Quick tip: if most of your drives are under 10 miles or you idle a lot, shorten your oil interval and stick with a quality synthetic. It tolerates fuel and moisture better. Getting the engine fully warm more often helps boil off water and light fuel too. I see this pattern a lot in city cars and turbo engines that sit in traffic. The oil level can even rise because of fuel dilution. The oil looks thin, smells like gas, and loses load capacity. If that sounds familiar, your oil is getting poisoned, not just aged. Dilution and rust are bad. Yet there is another double hit waiting. Grit can sneak in, and a stuck PCV can trap acids. Let us tackle dirt and ventilation next. Bypassing an air filter is a fast way to wreck oil and parts. Dust and soot act like microscopic sandpaper. In controlled tests, adding abrasive dirt drove bearing wear way up, sometimes by 50 to 200%. That grit also loads the oil with solids, forcing detergents and dispersants to work overtime. They run out faster. Now add a clogged or sticky PCV valve. With poor crankcase ventilation, blowby and acidic vapors sit in the oil longer. Pressure builds, seals weep, and sludge forms faster. Quick tip: change the air filter on time and snap test the PCV at every oil change. A clean intake and a breathing crankcase are cheap insurance. If you see oily residue around hoses or the valve cover, check PCV flow first. I have traced mystery oil leaks to a stuck PCV more times than I can count. Fixing it calms the pressure and the leaks fade. Dirt and bad ventilation do not just foul oil, they speed up every other failure path we talked about. So what protects the oil while all of this is going on? The answer is the Additive Toolbox built into every bottle. Let us open that toolbox next. Every modern oil hides a chemical toolbox. These are not miracles, but they are powerful. Detergents neutralize acids. Dispersants keep soot and varnish floating so filters can catch them. Anti-wear chemistry, like ZDDP, lays down a tiny sacrificial film on metal when parts squeeze hard. Friction modifiers such as moly aim to smooth contact and reduce drag. Antioxidants are like a shield against heat-driven oxidation. All of this works together, but nothing in that bottle is endless. Quick tip: older flat-tappet engines and some racing builds often like more zinc and phosphorus, while modern street engines keep ZDDP around the 800 parts per million range to protect catalytic converters. Be wary of miracle PTFE claims. Some tests show little gain and possible filter issues over time. You are on Recall Roadmap with Morgan. If this is helping, subscribe and turn on safety alerts. Grab our maintenance interval planner so you can set intervals that match how you drive, not just the miles. Additives give oil a real defense against heat, shear, dirt, fuel, and water. But here's the hard truth. Those defenses get used up. When the toolkit runs low, breakdown speeds up. Let us talk about that next. Additives are like brake pads. They do their job, then they wear down. Every mile chips away at detergents, dispersants, anti-wear films, and antioxidants. In lab reports, you can watch the antioxidant signature fade and zinc levels drop as the oil ages. Total base number falls too. When that reserve gets close to about 2, the oil has little room left to neutralize acids. From that point, oxidation can sprint and sludge can arrive fast. Quick tip: if the oil smells burnt, feels sticky or foamy, or shows heavy darkening well ahead of schedule, change it. Additives do not grow back in the sump. OEMs know this, which is why they approve oils with limits and build change schedules around severe service. High heat, heavy load, stop and go driving, and short trips chew through that additive reserve faster. Oil without a healthy toolkit becomes plain base oil in a harsh place. And that is when visible signs show up in ways any driver can catch without a lab. If you are already seeing sludge or metal glitter, the clock is late. Next, let us read what your oil is trying to tell you right now. Looks can fool you, but oil does speak. Learn its language and you can save an engine. Dark brown to black with a burnt smell points to oxidation and lots of soot. Thick and syrupy feel means it is aging hard. Thin, slick, and smelling like gasoline hints at fuel dilution, common in short-trip city driving. A creamy or milky look under the cap or on the dipstick means water. That can be simple condensation from short runs, or it can signal coolant mixing in. Rising oil level without adding oil often means fuel getting in, and sometimes a ventilation or coolant issue. Quick tip: check your oil every 1,000 miles or so, by look and by smell, not just the level. Small changes caught early are cheap to fix. In the shop, I treat oil inspection like a quick health scan. If I see milky residue, I hunt moisture sources and test PCV flow. If I smell heavy fuel, I look for rich running, stuck injectors, and lots of short trips. These clues guide the next move. Now that you can read the signs, let us set a smart change interval that matches your real driving, not a calendar myth. Two cars can drive the same miles and need very different oil change dates. Why? Because oil life depends on heat, load, trip length, and time. A short trip city car in summer, with stop and go, turbo heat, and idling, lives a severe life. A long highway commuter, steady speed and full warm-ups, is gentler. That is why many manufacturers publish two schedules. Normal might stretch to 7,500 or even 10,000 miles. Severe often cuts that in half, down near 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Some brands even call for 15,000 miles under easy conditions, but that assumes mild use. Quick tip: use your oil life monitor if you have one. Those systems watch temperature, RPM, and trip data to adjust the interval. They are not guessing. They are tracking the stress you actually put on the oil. I tell drivers to match the interval to reality. Tow, idle, or short trip a lot. Change sooner. Mostly highway with long warm-ups. Change later, but still by time. The owner's manual, API and ILSAC specs, and SAE standards guide this math. Data beats habit. Now for the final move. Let us lock in simple habits that keep oil healthier, longer. We solve the mystery of oil wear. Now let us win the daily game. Here are simple habits that make oil last and engines happy. Fix intake leaks and cracked boots so unmetered air and extra fuel do not flood the oil. Change the air filter on time to keep grit out. Test or replace the PCV valve so the crankcase can breathe and acids do not build up. Avoid long idling, especially when cold. Give the engine a gentle warm-up before hard driving so moisture can boil off. Choose the right grade and a quality synthetic if you run hot, tow, or face lots of short trips. Quick tip: in shop tests, repairing a torn intake boot cut measured fuel dilution by roughly 3/4. Small fixes make big gains. I have seen trucks roll past 350,000 miles on simple, steady oil care. No magic, just good habits and on-time changes. If you want a hand planning it, grab our maintenance interval planner and turn on safety alerts. That way, your car reminds you before the oil gets overwhelmed. All right, time to wrap it up and leave you with one smart question to guide your next change. We came in thinking old oil is just dirty. Now you know the truth. Heat oxidizes oil and nitration adds acid. Driving stress can shear viscosity. Fuel and water dilute the film. Dirt and bad PCV make it worse. Additives fight back, then they run out. The signs show up right in your hands, and the right interval depends on how you drive. That is the map. Follow it, and you protect your engine and your wallet. If this helped, please subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching. Which tip surprised you the most? The fuel dilution story, the PCV fix, or the additive facts? Tell me your experience and what you will change on your next service. I am Morgan Lane, and this is your Safety First Car Guide. You have got this. Keep your oil healthy, and your engine will thank you. See you next time on the road.